Eli had never expected his life to change so suddenly. One quiet evening, as he sat on his worn-out couch scrolling through old human sitcoms, a strange shimmer appeared in the middle of his small apartment. The air seemed to hum softly, and, before he could even react, a figure slowly materialized in front of him. She was tall, elegant, and unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in shades of blue and silver, her hair cascaded like liquid metal, and her eyes glowed a soft violet, reflecting curiosity and wonder. Eli's heart raced, not from fear, but from awe. Hi?" he managed, unsure what words humans even used for moments like this. The alien girl stepped forward, her movements graceful, almost floating. "Greetings," she said in a soft, melodic voice that carried warmth. "I am Lyra. I am your guest, as arranged by your roommate device." L.A. blinked. His roommate device had never mentioned that it could materialize actual beings. He rubbed his eyes, convinced he was dreaming. But Lyra's gentle gaze reassured him she was real, and she seemed harmless. I guess you're welcome here," he said awkwardly. "I mean, it's my apartment, I live here, and now, well, here you are." He gestured vaguely, trying to look confident but failing miserably. Lyra tilted her head, her silver hair shimmering as if catching invisible sunlight. "Your human habits fascinate me," she said. "I have read about your species. I have read your books, watched your media. Yet I wish to observe directly, to understand fully." Eli swallowed. He wasn't sure why, but the words made his chest tighten. This wasn't just a visitor coming to stay, it felt like a whole new world had entered his life. And somehow he had to navigate it carefully. "Okay," he said, finally finding his voice. "Well, humans have a lot of habits. Some are weird. Some, not so weird." He chuckled nervously. Lyra watched him closely, her expression calm but intensely curious. It was unsettling and comforting at the same time. She moved further into the apartment, inspecting every corner with deliberate attention. She touched the couch softly, examined the kitchen utensils with careful fingers, and peeked at the bookshelf with shining eyes. "Your objects, your tools, your methods of daily life. Everything tells a story of your species," she murmured. "I wish to learn. I wish to experience fully." Eli couldn't stop staring at her. There was something hypnotic in her movements, but more than that, there was innocence, honesty, and a kind of gentle brilliance in the way she looked at the world. She wasn't just an alien, she was a being trying, with pure intent, to understand humanity. Then, she paused, and her voice dropped slightly, almost shyly. "There is one aspect, one human custom that I wish to understand: breeding." Eli froze. His mouth opened and closed, searching for words that wouldn't sound foolish. "You mean making babies?" he asked carefully. "Yes," Lyra replied, her voice calm, almost naive. "I do not wish for pleasure. I do not wish for play. I wish to understand how your species reproduces, how humans create life, how it affects your emotions. It is essential to understanding your humanity." Eli's heart thumped harder. This was not a normal roommate conversation. But when he looked into her glowing eyes, he saw no malice, no curiosity that was dangerous, just pure desire to learn and connect. Somehow that made him feel protective. I think we can try to understand it in steps," he said cautiously. "We can start small, learn slowly, but we have to be careful. There are limits." Lyra smiled faintly, her glow softening the room. "I accept your guidance, human. I wish only to learn, to experience, to understand your species fully." And with that, Eli realized his life had changed forever. This wasn't just an alien guest. This was a new chapter, one that would test his patience, his courage, and his heart. Somehow, deep down, he knew that teaching her what it truly meant to be human would teach him more than he could ever imagine. Eli had never expected his life to change so suddenly. One quiet evening, as he sat on his worn-out couch scrolling through old human sitcoms, a strange shimmer appeared in the middle of his small apartment. The air seemed to hum softly, and before he could even react, a figure slowly materialized in front of him. She was tall, elegant, and unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in shades of blue and silver, her hair cascaded like liquid metal, and her eyes glowed a soft violet, reflecting curiosity and wonder. Eli's heart raced, not from fear, but from awe. Hi," he managed, unsure what words humans even used for moments like this. The alien girl stepped forward, her movements graceful, almost floating. "Greetings," she said in a soft, melodic voice that carried warmth. "I am Lyra. I am your guest, as arranged by your roommate device." Eli blinked. His roommate device had never mentioned that it could materialize actual beings. He rubbed his eyes, convinced he was dreaming. But Lyra's gentle gaze reassured him she was real, and she seemed harmless. I guess you're welcome here, he said awkwardly. I mean, it's my apartment, I live here, and now, well, here you are. He gestured vaguely, trying to look confident but failing miserably. Lyra tilted her head, her silver hair shimmering as if catching invisible sunlight. Your human habits fascinate me, she said. I have read about your species. I have read your books, watched your media. Yet I wish to observe directly, to understand fully. Eli swallowed. He wasn't sure why, but the words made his chest tighten. This wasn't just a visitor coming to stay, it felt like a whole new world had entered his life. And somehow he had to navigate it carefully. Okay, he said, finally finding his voice. Well, humans have a lot of habits. Some are weird. Some, not so weird. He chuckled nervously. Lyra watched him closely, her expression calm but intensely curious. It was unsettling and comforting at the same time. She moved further into the apartment, inspecting every corner with deliberate attention. She touched the couch softly, examined the kitchen utensils with careful fingers, and peeked at the bookshelf with shining eyes. Your objects, your tools, your methods of daily life. Everything tells a story of your species, she murmured. I wish to learn. I wish to experience fully. Eli couldn't stop staring at her. There was something hypnotic in her movements, but more than that, there was innocence, honesty, and a kind of gentle brilliance in the way she looked at the world. She wasn't just an alien, she was a being trying, with pure intent, to understand humanity. Then, she paused, and her voice dropped slightly, almost shyly. There is one aspect, one human custom that I wish to understand, breeding. Eli froze. His mouth opened and closed, searching for words that wouldn't sound foolish. You mean making babies? He asked carefully. Yes, Lyra replied, her voice calm, almost naive. I do not wish for pleasure. I do not wish for play. I wish to understand how your species reproduces, how humans create life, how it affects your emotions. It is essential to understanding your humanity. Eli's heart thumped harder. This was not a normal roommate conversation. But when he looked into her glowing eyes, he saw no malice, no curiosity that was dangerous, just pure desire to learn and connect. Somehow that made him feel protective. I think we can try to understand it in steps, he said cautiously. We can start small, learn slowly, but we have to be careful. There are limits. Lyra smiled faintly, her glow softening the room. I accept your guidance, human. I wish only to learn, to experience, to understand your species fully. And with that, Eli realized his life had changed forever. This wasn't just an alien guest. This was a new chapter 1 that would test his patience, his courage, and his heart. Somehow, deep down, he knew that teaching her what it truly meant to be human would teach him more than he could ever imagine. Eli and Lyra had spent days preparing for this moment. The apartment was quiet, lit only by soft ambient lights, giving it a warm, safe feeling. Eli felt a nervous flutter in his chest as he watched Lyra adjust her position on the couch, her luminous eyes studying him with curiosity and trust. She was calm, but he could see the tension in her posture, the same mixture of excitement and uncertainty he felt himself. Are you ready? Eli asked softly, unsure if the word could really capture what was about to happen. I am ready, human, Lyra replied. Her voice was steady, but there was a subtle quiver that betrayed her anticipation. I wish to understand fully. Not for pleasure, not for play, only knowledge and connection. Eli nodded. He had decided that tonight would be about learning boundaries, understanding emotion, and exploring human intimacy in its gentlest form. They wouldn't rush into anything physical beyond gestures and closeness. Tonight, it was about trust, patience, and emotional connection. He reached out slowly, placing a hand near hers without touching it. Human intimacy isn't just physical, he said. It's about trust. It's about feeling safe with someone. Even the smallest gestures, holding hands, sitting close, sharing a look, can mean a lot. Lyra tilted her head, processing his words. Then, slowly, she extended her delicate hand until her fingers brushed his. The touch was light, almost tentative, but Eli felt a spark of human warmth that crossed species and boundaries. Her skin was cool to the touch, yet the sincerity in her gesture made him feel an unfamiliar comfort. Do humans feel emotions through touch? She asked softly. Yes, Eli said. A touch can say what words cannot. It can convey care, comfort, trust, even love. Lyra absorbed this, her violet eyes shimmering as she leaned slightly closer. testing the space between them. She mirrored his posture, learning by doing, her expression focused yet innocent. Eli guided her gently, showing her how leaning in slightly, making eye contact, or offering a reassuring smile could communicate feelings humans often kept hidden. There were moments of awkwardness. Lyra sometimes misread gestures, tilting her head in confusion or offering a hug too abruptly. Eli would laugh softly, not mockingly, but in encouragement. Each mistake became a teaching moment, and each success, no matter how small, strengthened the bond forming between them. At one point, Lyra paused, looking thoughtful. Human intimacy is complex, yet it seems beautiful. Fragile, but powerful. It connects not only bodies but hearts. Eli felt a lump in his throat. She understood more than most humans ever did, what it meant to truly connect. "That's exactly right," he said, squeezing her hand lightly. "It's not about the act itself. It's about feeling safe, feeling trusted, and feeling understood." For hours, they practiced together. Lyra learned to read subtle expressions. Eli taught her how to show care without words, and both of them discovered the quiet, emotional layers that made human interaction so profound. Lyra laughed softly when she succeeded, and Eli smiled each time, realizing that the alien in front of him was not just learning, she was growing, evolving in ways that made their connection almost tangible. By the end of the night, they sat side by side, breathing quietly. Lyra rested her hand on Eli's arm, not out of expectation, but out of comfort. "I feel something," she murmured. "It is different from anything I have known. It is not knowledge alone. It is trust." Eli nodded, his heart full. "That's what it's meant to be. You're doing more than learning about humans. You're learning about connection, and I'm learning too about patience, care, and the strength it takes to be understood." Lyra looked at him, her eyes soft and radiant. "Thank you, human. You are teaching me more than I imagined. More than words can capture." In that quiet apartment, across species and galaxies, a remarkable bond was forming, one built not on power, not on obligation, but on mutual trust and the willingness to understand each other deeply. And Eli realized that tonight was only the beginning. A few days after their first gentle experiment, Eli sensed a tension in the apartment. Lyra was quieter than usual, her violet eyes clouded with thought. She moved slower, touching objects more deliberately, as if measuring their significance. "Something had shifted, Lyra?" Eli asked softly, approaching her in the kitchen. She was arranging cups with meticulous care, but her hands trembled slightly. "Yes, human?" she said, turning to face him. There was a faint shadow in her expression, a mixture of confusion and hesitation. Eli swallowed hard. "I think we might need to pause for a while. Last time you reacted strongly to something. I think it was more intense than we expected." Lyra's face fell. Her large eyes shimmered with something between disappointment and worry. I only wish to learn. Did I do something wrong?" Eli shook his head, trying to reassure her. "No, you didn't do anything wrong. But human intimacy can be overwhelming. Even gestures that seem small can have big emotional effects. It's not your fault. It's just complicated." Her ears, or what he assumed were sensitive folds near her head, flattened slightly. "I am uncertain. My body, my instincts, they are different from humans. Yet I wish to understand fully. Did I fail you?" Eli reached out gently, resting a hand on her shoulder. "No, Lyra, you didn't fail. You tried. That's the most important thing. Understanding takes time. Every human learns it differently, and every alien learns differently too. We just need patience." She looked down at her hands, fidgeting. "I only wish to be worthy of your trust," she whispered. "You are," Eli said firmly. "I trust you completely. But part of learning about humans is understanding limits. Sometimes stepping back is just as important as stepping forward." Lyra's eyes met his, filled with emotion. I see. I will try again, but carefully, slowly, so I do not overwhelm you." Eli smiled softly, relieved. "That's all I ask. We'll take it one step at a time. And if either of us feels unsure, we stop. No pressure. No mistakes. Just learning." Even with words of reassurance, Eli couldn't ignore a nagging worry. Lyra's physiology was alien, and he didn't fully understand the effects of even gentle physical closeness. There had been a surge in her energy during the last experiment, something intense, unexpected. That intensity wasn't dangerous, but it was unpredictable. He guided her to sit on the couch, the soft cushions enveloping them in warmth. Let's just sit together tonight. Talk, relax. No experiments. No tests, just being. Lyra nodded, leaning slightly toward him. I can do that, she said, a small, tentative smile returning to her face. Just being with you is valuable. Even without action, I learn. They spent the evening in quiet conversation. Lyra asked about human emotions she hadn't yet experienced, like embarrassment, longing, and anticipation. Eli answered honestly, sharing stories of his life, his fears, and moments of joy. And Lyra listened, absorbing everything, learning not just biology or gestures, but the deep, emotional currents that made humans unique. By the time the night ended, the tension had eased. Lyra rested her head lightly on Eli's shoulder, her eyes closed in trust. I understand better now, she whispered. Human intimacy is not just act or body. It is emotion, patience, and understanding. I will respect that. Eli stroked her hair gently, feeling a quiet pride. Exactly. That's the heart of it. And you're already learning faster than most humans ever do. In that moment, Eli realized that conflict and hesitation were just part of growth. Understanding another being, especially one from a completely different world, was never simple. It required patience, honesty, and compassion. And Lyra's willingness to learn, even when confused or overwhelmed, made him admire her even more. Tonight had been difficult, but it had strengthened their bond. Across species and galaxies, they were learning not just about biology, but about empathy, trust, and the delicate dance of connection. And Eli knew, deep in his heart, that this challenge was only the beginning of something extraordinary. A few days later, the apartment felt different. The air was lighter, softer, filled with an unspoken understanding. Lyra moved with ease now, no longer tentative or hesitant. She had taken Eli's lessons to heart, absorbing not just the gestures of humans, but the emotions behind them. And Eli, in turn, had grown more patient, more aware of the depth of trust that could exist between two beings, even across species. I want to try again, Lyra said one evening, her voice gentle, almost reverent. Her violet eyes glowed softly in the dim light, reflecting both anticipation and careful determination. Not the full human act. Just connection. Emotional, physical, as humans do. Eli nodded slowly, heart thumping in his chest. He had been waiting for this moment, not with fear, but with hope. We'll go slowly, he said. No rush, no pressure, just being together. She smiled faintly, moving closer. Her hand brushed his arm lightly, testing the boundaries of comfort. Eli felt the warmth of her skin, the subtle pulse of life, and realized that connection wasn't just in words or gestures. It was in the quiet presence, the willingness to share space. To be vulnerable, human intimacy, Lyra whispered, is more than I imagined. It is patience, trust, understanding. I wish to feel it fully. Eli took her hand gently, guiding it to rest over his. Then we'll start with touch, he said softly. Simple gestures. Holding hands, sitting close, sharing warmth. Let's see how connection grows, slowly. They began. First, it was small, the brush of fingers, a reassuring squeeze, the light press of shoulders as they leaned toward each other. Each movement was deliberate, careful, yet full of emotion. Lyra mirrored him perfectly, her alien instincts blending seamlessly with human gestures. Eli watched her, amazed at how naturally she adapted, yet preserved her own identity. Her eyes met his, wide and vulnerable. Do humans feel this deeply? From such small actions? She asked. Yes, Eli replied, voice soft. Sometimes the smallest gestures mean the most. Trust, care, and comfort, they all grow from closeness, not force. Humans value emotional honesty more than physical perfection. Lyra absorbed this, and slowly, her movements became more confident. She leaned into him, resting her head gently on his shoulder. Eli felt the steady rhythm of her breathing, the subtle warmth of her body, and realized that this was the essence of connection, mutual trust without expectation. Hours passed like minutes. They practiced patience, laughter, quiet conversation, and subtle gestures of care. Lyra's initial curiosity had blossomed into understanding, and Eli's cautious guidance had become a shared rhythm. A silent communication beyond words. At one point, Lyra looked up at him, eyes shining with emotion. I feel human, not only in body, but in heart. I understand now what it means to connect, to trust, to share. Eli smiled, a warmth spreading through him he had never felt before. That's exactly it. You've learned more than most humans ever do. And in learning, you've taught me too about patience, empathy, and the beauty of understanding someone completely. For the first time, their bond felt unbreakable. Across species, across worlds, they had found a shared language, a language of trust, of gentle care, of emotional honesty. And in that moment, Eli realized that what had started as a curious experiment had become something far deeper. The beginning of a profound connection that neither human nor alien could have anticipated. Lyra rested her hand on his arm, her voice a soft whisper. "Thank you, Eli. You have shown me not just humans, but humanity. And I will carry this understanding always." Eli's heart ached with emotion. "And you've shown me that connection has no boundaries. It doesn't matter species, culture, or distance. It's about being willing to understand and trust." They stayed together, side by side, their presence alone a testament to the breakthrough they had achieved. Words were not needed. They were both learning, feeling, and sharing in a way that transcended language, instinct, and species. Tonight, the experiment was no longer about curiosity or knowledge. It was about trust, care, and the quiet beauty of truly seeing another being and allowing them to see you. And Eli knew that this breakthrough would shape not just their understanding of intimacy, but their lives forever. The days after their breakthrough were different. Eli noticed subtle changes in Lyra. She moved more confidently, spoke more softly, and often lingered near him without any prompt. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was care, attention, and an almost human-like awareness of emotional presence. One evening, Eli found her sitting on the balcony, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. "It's beautiful," she said quietly, her voice filled with awe. "Humans create so much. Even in small things. Life itself feels richer than I imagined." Eli joined her, leaning against the railing. "It is," he agreed. "But it's not just the lights or buildings, it's the moments, the people, the connections we make. That's what makes life meaningful." Lyra turned to him, her violet eyes glowing softly in the night. "I think I understand now. Connection is not only about touch. It is trust, patience, understanding. Emotions shared willingly." Eli nodded. "Exactly. That's the heart of it. And you've learned that faster than most humans ever do." She smiled faintly, a soft warmth radiating from her. Then, almost instinctively, she rested her head against his shoulder. Eli felt the gentle weight, the quiet rhythm of her breathing, and a profound tenderness stirred within him. She wasn't just practicing anymore, she was experiencing, living, feeling the essence of humanity through connection. "Eli," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I feel human, even if only partly. You've shown me that emotions are more important than actions. That trust is stronger than instinct, that care can bridge worlds." Eli's chest tightened. Her words weren't just an observation, they were a confession of understanding, of vulnerability, and of trust placed entirely in him. He gently wrapped an arm around her, careful, deliberate, conveying reassurance without overstepping. "You've already shown me more than I expected," he said softly. "You've shown me that connection doesn't care about species. It's about heart, willingness, and honesty." They sat like that for hours, sharing quiet breaths, small gestures of care, and mutual warmth. Lyra's hand rested lightly on his arm, occasionally squeezing softly as if confirming the bond. Eli's thumb brushed her skin in reply, a human gesture of comfort she quickly understood. At one point, Lyra lifted her head, meeting his gaze directly. "I am grateful," she said simply. "Not just for your teaching, but for your patience, your understanding, your humanity." Eli smiled, feeling a warmth that went beyond the physical. "And I'm grateful for you, Lyra. You've taught me patience, empathy, and the beauty of seeing another being truly try to understand you. You've reminded me what humans are capable of: care, trust, love." Her eyes shimmered, reflecting the city lights like stars within her gaze. "I will carry this with me," she whispered. "Even when I return to my world, I will remember how humans connect, how they care." Eli's heart ached with emotion. He realized then that their experiment, their journey, had become something far more profound. It wasn't about science, biology, or curiosity. It was about emotional truth, the quiet power of trust, and the ability of two beings, completely different, yet willing to learn, to create a shared experience of humanity. They remained on the balcony until the first light of dawn, sitting side by side, breathing in the soft morning air. The city below woke slowly, oblivious to the extraordinary bond forming above it. Lyra leaned closer once more, resting her head gently on Eli's shoulder. "I understand humans," she murmured. Not just what you do, but why, and I feel part of it now. Ailey felt tears sting his eyes, though he blinked them away. You're more than part of it, Lyra. You've helped me understand it too. Humanity isn't just what we do, it's how we care. And you've shown me that even across worlds, it's possible to share that care fully. And in that quiet moment, under the soft glow of dawn, Eli knew that the journey they had begun, curiosity, patience, trust had reached a new level. It was no longer just learning. It was living, feeling, and connecting in the purest, most human way possible. The city outside Eli's apartment glowed like a river of stars. But inside, the quiet warmth between him and Lyra shone even brighter. Days had passed since their breakthrough, and every moment together had deepened their connection. The alien girl who had arrived as a curious guest was now a being he understood in ways that went beyond words. Lyra sat beside him on the couch, her hand lightly resting on his arm. Human life is extraordinary, she said softly. Not because of technology, or structures, or even art, but because of connection. Trust, care, love. Emotions that move your species. I feel honored to witness them. Eli smiled, feeling the weight of her words sink into him. It's more than honor, he said. You've participated in it. You've shared in it. And in doing so, you've helped me see my world differently. For the first time, silence didn't feel empty. It was full of understanding. Every glance, every subtle touch, every shared breath conveyed more than language ever could. They didn't need words to affirm what had grown between them. The bond was quiet, patient, and profound. You've taught me more than I imagined, Eli, Lyra continued. Not only about humans, but about patience, vulnerability, and the strength that comes from connection. I will carry this knowledge with me always. It is beautiful. Eli's chest tightened. And you've reminded me what it means to truly share life with someone. Not just in presence, but in trust, understanding, and care. I've learned as much from you as you have from me. A soft glow radiated from Lyra's skin, subtle and warm, reflecting the calm intimacy between them. She rested her head against his shoulder, and Eli instinctively draped an arm around her, feeling the rise and fall of her breathing. The alien physiology he had once worried about no longer seemed strange or intimidating. It was just her, being fully present with him, and he was fully present with her. I think, Lyra whispered, that connection, like this, is the essence of humanity. And it is worth celebrating. Not as a lesson or experiment, but as life itself. Eli nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. You're right. That's exactly it, this, us. It's not about rules, species, or expectation. It's about being willing to trust, to care, and to share life fully. That's what makes humans human. They stayed together, side by side, as the night deepened into early morning. Outside, the city thrummed with energy and noise, but inside time had slowed. It felt infinite, a quiet space where they could exist without fear, judgment, or expectation. Only understanding and trust filled the room. Finally, Lyra lifted her head, her violet eyes shining with something new, a mix of wonder, gratitude, and quiet joy. Thank you, Eli, for patience, for guidance, for teaching me humanity not only through actions, but through heart. You've given me a gift I will never forget. Eli smiled, feeling a warmth he could hardly put into words. And you've given me the same gift, Lyra. Seeing you learn, trust, and grow has reminded me why connection matters. Across worlds, species, and experience, it's possible to understand and care for another being fully. And you've proven that. She leaned back into him, her hand pressing lightly against his chest. He could feel her heartbeat, steady and real, a reminder that life, alien or human, was fragile, precious, and worth every effort to understand. Eli whispered softly, no matter what happens, this, what we've shared, will stay with us, always. You've become more than a guest, more than a student of humanity. You're part of it, part of my life, part of me. A quiet smile curved Lyra's lips. And you, Eli, are part of me. Not just as a human, but as a teacher, a guide, a friend. And something more. I will remember this forever. They sat together, embracing the stillness, the quiet understanding that their bond had transcended species, biology, and fear. In that moment, Eli realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its power, intelligence, or achievements. It was the capacity to connect, to trust, and to care. And together, they had found it not just in themselves, but in each other. Tonight, the experiment had ended, but life had begun. Across galaxies, across worlds, A human and an alien had discovered the profound truth of connection, proving that empathy, care, and trust were universal. And in that shared space, they knew one thing clearly: life, in all its forms, was worth celebrating.